Zaya and Zakiya, two young princesses, were admired for their grace and beauty. Known throughout the land for their intricately braided cornrows adorned with colorful beads, they were inseparable. Each morning, they sat together, plaiting each other's hair and sharing joyful moments. But everything changed when they both became drawn to the same boy, Alan. Alan was kind and charming, often seen around the palace, and his quiet presence captivated both sisters. What started as admiration soon grew into rivalry, with each princess trying to outshine the other. Zaya and Zakiya began to compete for his attention, and their once loving bond quickly turned sour. It started with small, petty acts. Zaya hid Zakiya's favorite dresses, tearing them in secret. Zakiya retaliated by stealing Zaya's beloved hair beads, knowing how much they meant to her sister. As time passed, their actions became more harmful. Zaya slipped strange herbs into Zakiya's bathing water, hoping to cause unsightly pimples to appear on her flawless skin. Zakiya, not to be outdone, added oil to Zaya's lotions, leaving her skin greasy and unpleasant. The mischief didn't end there. Zaya smeared honey into Zakiya's hairbrush one afternoon, causing her sister's carefully plaited cornrows to become sticky and tangled just before an important festival. Furious, Zakiya filled Zaya's shoes with small pebbles, hoping Alan would notice her sister's awkward limp as they walked through the palace gardens. Tension mounted between the sisters, and soon, their rivalry turned physical. One day, after a particularly heated argument, Zakiya sneaked into Zaya's room and, in a moment of spite, cut off a section of her sister's long, beautiful hair while she slept. The next morning, Zaya woke in horror, devastated by the uneven strands that now framed her face. In her anger, she tore one of Zakiya's most treasured gowns, leaving her sister heartbroken. Their pranks even extended to mealtime. Zaya oversalted Zakiya's food, causing her to gag in front of the entire palace, while Zakiya made sure Zaya's drink was so sour that her face contorted in embarrassment. The palace, once filled with laughter, had become a place of tension and unkindness, as the sisters' jealousy consumed them. One afternoon, unable to contain their frustration any longer, the sisters found themselves in a physical tussle in the palace gardens. They yelled at each other, pulling at their beautifully braided hair until beads scattered across the ground, leaving their cornrows a tangled mess. It was in this moment, as the staff and onlookers gathered in shock, that Alan appeared. Alan had noticed the tension between Zaya and Zakiya for some time. He quietly approached them, his eyes filled with sadness, and told them he didn't understand what had been happening between them. But what he found most beautiful was kindness, not rivalry. His words carried weight, and the sisters froze, realizing the damage they had caused not only to each other but also to themselves. Alan's disappointment made them see the foolishness of their actions. The boy they had fought so hard to impress wasn't impressed by their beauty or their tricks, he was saddened by their cruelty. It was then that Zaya and Zakiya saw how much they had lost in their pursuit of attention. They had torn apart their bond, caused each other pain, and forgotten the true meaning of beauty. With tearful apologies, the sisters began to make amends. They spent the next days repairing the damage they had done to each other, rebraiding hair, sewing torn dresses, and, most importantly, restoring their sisterhood. They realized that beauty wasn't about outshining one another, it was about the kindness they showed, both to themselves and others. From that day forward, Zaya and Zakiya stopped seeking Alan's favor and instead focused on celebrating their own unique qualities. They embraced the lesson Alan had unintentionally taught them, that true beauty lies not in physical appearance but in the kindness of one's heart. And as for Alan, he became their friend, not because of their looks, but because they had rediscovered the kindness and strength that made them truly beautiful.